Well, joining us to look at the same matter this time is Dr. Doyin Okupe, former presidential aide, advisor, media spokesperson. They're all the same, isn't it?
Whatever you call it. Good morning.
Well, good morning. Talking about democratic processes, how we can strengthen them, some would also say, apart from leadership, which Dr. Doyin Okupe did talk about, some others want to look at the comments of individuals, comments of party people. For instance, we noticed from him, who is now in Labour Party. By the way, that's a loss to your political party, the PDP. He's now with the Labour Party. Irrespective of his affiliation, he still feels that they should be cautious and be objective in their comments. How does that help our democratic
There should be what? There should be...
That they should be objective in their comments. How does that help our democratic institutions?
Well, let's take it this way. For us to deepen our democracy, we've got to establish a couple of pillars. I call it 5, some may call it 6 or more. One is that, which is very, very crucial, is the quality of political leadership. The quality of political leadership is extremely very important. The other issue is free and fair election. Another one will be good governance. Another one will be rule of law, adherence to rule of law. And also a similarly very crucial issue is the role of the opposition. All this will interplay, and I will explain to you with reference especially to the recently conducted election in Edo State. But for the quality of leadership, the remarkable leadership that President Goodluck Jonathan offered, we will not be talking like this morning. It is not enough to say that Adams Oshimole was a popular governor, he did well. So was Bola Ige. Bola Ige was a popular governor, he did well, he lost the election. So also was late Baba Jasin, popular, respected, respectable, he also did well. There was a mayhem, of course, and all that. But this gentleman, at the helm of affairs, providing currently the leadership, political leadership in the country today, has saved us from all that difficulty, national pain, and anarchy.
Well, sorry, in the week we had Ikechukwu, who joined us from Abuja, and he said, well, the first position should go to the people, the electorates, because if the electorates are anything different from what you're saying now, then we don't think we'll be getting
that is standing the pyramid, on its head. Look, this is not the first time since 1960. This is not the first time the electorates are coming out to vote. Have we really ever been satisfied? The issue is that somebody has produced an environment that is conducive to a free and fair election. And that is it is extremely significant. For instance, if the electorates do turn out and, they do not have access to the polling stations, or there's some evidence of intimidation or harassment or discrimination in any way, how are they going to vote?
When you talked about all the pillars of deepening democracy, I would have thought that, you were talking more at an individual level. For instance, say in the ACN or in the PDP, where you have this political leadership, you also need to provide a fair playing ground for candidates who come up within parties. It can also be applied at that level, you don't think?
We haven't really, at that level, we have not even gotten, and this also makes President Jonathan, stand, shoulder higher than, majority of his peers. Because at the state levels, democracy really is not at play. In most states.
Are you talking about the last year now, or I'm talking about the parties,
yes,
the political parties?
Yes.
Let's take, for instance, now in Bayelsa State, we had an array of candidates who came up. People who people felt were fairly credible. In fact, it looked pretty contentious, but they were also subject. The fact that any one of them was going to emerge in the very first instance to, carry the party's flag was subject to how they fared within the party. At that level, would you not say it is very important for some amount of democracy to also come to play.
I agree with you that there must be some level of internal democracy within the parties. But the deepening democracy on a national level is the issue. No amount of internal democracy that you have had, and you have been able to select a good candidate, acceptable candidate. If, for instance, the umpires are biased, it will come to nothing. And I'm not going to be tired of being able to say that from the very onset, from the very beginning, Goodluck Jonathan promised Nigerians that, look, I'm going to conduct an election that will be free and fair and that can compare with international standard. And, to do that, structure and institution are very important. What did he do first? The first thing he did was to spare no road, in ensuring that they searched throughout the length and breadth of this country and picked, at least somebody who we now also agree, nationally and internationally, that was a good choice. Somebody took that time to do that. And if it was just pursuing his own personal interest, you didn't have to really go that far. And I dare say, and I must say this also, that, truly and in truth, the real, the real glory, the real hero of July 14th election is President Goodluck Jonathan.
Well, that again is subjective, but
no, it's not objective. I can prove it to you.
Let's talk a little more, about internal party democracy, because this is very important in a process that throws up candidates. Some people have said that people go to the polls sometimes without a clear choice of whom to pick because you do not know the pedigree of the candidates. They say, oh, this person is in this party. We didn't even know how come in his party he's not been able to emerge.
It is difficult.
And then sometimes you hear people complaining.
It is difficult to discuss internal democracy in Nigeria. It does not exist elsewhere apart from PDP. Unless you just want to make this discussion a PDP affair. Internal democracy does not exist else. Hold on a second. You brought it up.
I'm not talking about, I'm not trying to get partisan. I'm
not being partisan. I'm just telling you the futility in the discussion you're about to bring up. Because I'm telling you, the CPC today is totally in shambles. Why? Because of the method and procedures that they used to select candidates. In Ondo State, about 11 or 12 candidates wanted to contest election, very notable people and all that. An announcement came one day that this is the candidate, is anointed, every other person go and sit down. So, it's still going to take a long time for the other parties to get to the level of democratizing internally.